Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Stay close, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي اشدد به أزري ويشرك في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome everyone. Inshallah, I have to introduce the class. This is the first time we are having the class. And what are we going to do is important. Yes, we are going to study the Qur'an, but we have to have a lot of preparations before we start the Qur'an. First of all, the aim of this particular class is a little bit different from what is usually accustomed with discussions you are having or our shuyukh, our imam are having in this atmosphere, and they are mostly speaking about Islam, Qur'an, something to do with our religion, which we are going to do it, but our aim will be a little bit more to do with really instructive. What I mean by instructive, as if you are having a class in a school or in a college. So I may ask you some questions, and you will have your own discussions between yourself, and you may have the opportunity to express what you think about it, about the subject, very short time. 3 minutes or something, and then I will ask you, what did you talk about yourself? Come on, explain to me. And then we will talk about the subject as if we are not really aware of what Islam is. Just the first time we are introducing ourselves, because it will be somehow establishing the foundations. For example, if I ask you what the Qur'an is, the answer is usually, it is God's word. It is or a Muslim's sacred book. You see? And we usually speak in this atmosphere as if this is our book. God said in the Qur'an, even not God, I use God, but some people prefer Allah said in the Quran. Some people prefer it is not enough. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. These are our best. But in our discussion, I will have a kind of introduction from my previous problems that I used to have, and also as being for a long time in a chaplain in a college here in New York, I have experienced that believers, Muslim believers, are using a lot of terminology which means to others nothing. Do you see what I mean? When you say the Qur'an is God's word, God revealed it to the Prophet Muhammad. They say, God's word? Here is the question. Really? Does God speak? It's instructive. So we will use we use usually in our understanding of religion certain pre-accepted concepts. For example, the Prophet, Yawm al-Akhirah, or next creation, or I don't know, it's really used generally, but in the hereafter. But why do we believe in the hereafter? Why do we believe that really the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is really a prophet? How do we know? Does really God appoint prophet? How do you know? Come on, tell me your reasoning. I'm not an atheist, but tell me your reasoning. Why do you do that? How did you conclude this? The answer is, usually I found from my college students, this is our religion. Perfect. Yeah, I respect that. But why? That is your religion. If you were born, my challenging question is, we have to be ready for it. We have to be really brave enough to face these questions. My question will be, if you were living in a Christian community and your family were Christians, would you really be Muslim? What is the reason? What kind of evidence you have in your mind that you are a Muslim? I'm not saying you are not a Muslim, Hasha, but you are a Muslim. So we hear in the history, and we know that in Europe, Christianity was a religion almost since this St. Paul, the second century, the first or second century Christian history. Yeah, and then people embraced Islam, and later on, a few years, centuries later, then they accepted Islam, Christianity. 21st century, they are still Christians, a few exceptions. And for 14 centuries, 1400 years back, so now the Muslim world nowadays, southern Asian countries and all Middle Eastern countries, they are all Muslims, and for 14 years they have been Muslims. We may say, of course, this is our religion, so it is true. How are we going to change our religion? Okay, go to Christians, they say, it is our religion. It is true. Why should I change my religion? Confusing, isn't it? And then the Indians say, Hindu, this is our religion, or a kind of way we follow. That is correct. This is why our religion. I say, okay, why everybody says my religion is really the one, only the one truth, and the other is wrong? Yeah. Why do you claim to be Christians? Why do you claim to be Muslims? Why do you claim to be Jews? This is our religion. I think, for example, like these concepts, that is our religion. What religion is? Our believing in God, and God sent a revelation to his prophets. Now I said, look, do you have any convincing reason for you to believe that, for example, in the Qur'an mentioned, was there a mistake? But okay, do you really, are you really convinced that my religion is really correct one? So basically, if we are going to study in this series the Qur'an, we have to concentrate first on which kind of method the Qur'an follows, so that I will be convinced, yes, really, I am really I know what I am doing. I am not blindly following my, how do you say, family religion, my community religion, my traditional religion, or am I choosing to decide Islam is really what my creator? You should be familiar with my language, inshallah, in the course of time. I don't say, my God, my Allah. I say, my creator. I am aware of what my creator is, why I believe in the reality, in fact, that I have a creator. That is why I understood definitely my creator speaks to me, should speak to me, I need it. My pre-accepted concept is this. Pre-accepted, I need to explain it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, for Zoom, you're muted right now.
Sorry?
On your computer, you're logged into Zoom, it's muted. If you unmute yourself, the online participants will be able to hear you.
I am muted? Oh, why didn't you tell me before? So, all right, this one,
Escape.
go here and here. That I will just, okay. Oh, I missed this point. That is important. Thank you very much. So, I have to go. Where is it?
Slide. Yes.
Sorry?
Yeah, take it.
No?
Slide, the slide.
Slideshow?
Yeah, click. Just
Click anyone.
there you
Yeah.
go.
That's it.
And now slideshow.
Slideshow, not slideshow.
Okay, and then
Slideshow.
Slideshow.
slideshow. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry for this. And so, anybody, any questions so far? It is not, I'm not going to speak to you as if you are not a Muslim, not a believer, and I'm going to convince an atheist to believe. No, no, no. But at the same time, prepare my mind, my understanding, in a way that my heart, my mind, intellectual quality, human quality, and my heart, my feelings, again, human feelings, will be satisfied about what I am doing, why I am following what I am following. So if my heart is really satisfied, I understood that I will be very comfortable about what I am believing in and what I am doing. Otherwise, again, as a consultant, student consultant, I had more than a decade experience with the, in New York with the students. People have many problems. Young people have many problems. I am a very free man speaking, so I don't really see much, look for limitations or that. First of all, marriage problem. The second, family problem, profession problem, money problem, independence problem from my parents. These are the problems. How are we going to solve them? Practical solutions, like I am coughing. I go to doctor said, okay, I'll prescribe you a medicine which is good to stop your coughing. All right, they give me usually a syrup and I drink it and I stop coughing. But my lung has a problem. What I am doing, I am harming myself. Why? Because stopping the symptoms, thank you. My English is perfect, as you notice. So you will help me. I have many, really, if you like, disabilities. hearing, English problem, pronunciation. If you listen to me, I will say I am really speaking like an native English speaker. But people say, where are you from? How do you know? Your accent. Do I? Do I have one? I thought I did that, but that is obvious. So please bear with me. If someone speaks because of my hearing problem, I will say, can you repeat this one, please, brother, for me? Slowly, articulated way. So, inshallah, we will work. So far, it worked. The students learn it, but our friends learn it. So, come back to our subject. What we will do in our class, you have to be patient. It won't be long. 1 hour at the most, hour and 15 minutes. Will you allow us to do that? Okay, thank you. But we will say, we may do it a little bit more than over an hour, okay? Not 2 hours, not hour and a half, inshallah not. So sometimes I am afraid of making a promise, because at the end I may not myself keep myself speaking, and because of this excitement. Although my age seems to be very young, you're older than your grandparents, but at the same time I am a very excited man. I got excited when I studied the Qur'an, especially with the people like yourself, young people. So beautiful. Anyways, inshallah, what we will do, we will try. You can use it. You will feel comfortable. I will try always not to hide from certain religious terminologies that we are not aware of what they mean. Angels, Satan. You know, Satan whispers. Where is it? I have not seen any Satan. What do we mean by them? We start saying, no, Qur'an says so. Really? What is the Qur'an? What does the Qur'an say? And then I cannot understand what it means. How can I confirm it? Challenging. Why? Because I know, as far as my experience tells me, that problems that the students are facing, young people are facing, cannot be solved by giving them syrup, coughing syrup. It means if you read this and this and this prayer, it will work. Okay, you read it. I read last night, I read 10 times, 20 times, but it didn't change. Still my heart is not feeling comfortable. Correct. Because you don't know why are you praying. What does prayer mean? What does prayer mean? Asking Allah. How do you ask? How do you connect? What do you really need to feel what you are doing that needs a little bit scratching the surface and going down and being aware of what you are doing without accepting it. Traditionally, it is how it works. But it will be hard work, but inshallah, if you continue, keep coming, and then it will be very instructive. This is not the first time I am doing this instructive teaching rather than, encouraging people. No, instructive. You have to be like a student. Think about it. Is it really true? Does it make sense? If you have any kind of questions, never hesitate to ask them. To me, questions are more sacred than the answers. Why? Without the question, you cannot get the answer. If you don't have the question, if somebody gives you the answer, you will say, what am I going to do with it? Because you don't have the question. When you say the Qur'an, you don't say, really, does God speak? How do we know? That's what we heard, but how do we know? Make sure. If you ask this, when you say that Qur'an is the word of God, what do you mean by God who is speaking? I don't hear any voice, but it is through angels. Where is it? How do I believe in angels? No, we don't go, we will not go, don't be frustrated. We will not go into all subjects, solving everything in 1 hour or in a month, or the 4 times a month we will meet, inshallah. No. It will be a long process of instruction, but at least you will learn methodology here. Why? If we study the Qur'an, and the Qur'an will help me, to studying the Qur'an will help me how I should understand other pillars of faith. Follow the same method. You don't need me anymore. You learn the methodology of establishing your belief on a convincing or on convincing evidence. Inshallah. So shall we start questioning this a little bit? Does God speak? If someone asks you, how do you know that God speaks? Would you mind having small groups, 3, 4 people, and discussing among yourself? What is your answer? Do you mind? Come together. Get as if you are in an official class. Come together with this group and make a group there, please. Please, just make a group. You will speak between yourself. I'm not going to hear you. Don't worry about it. Yeah, if you want to join, make a group. Introduce yourself quickly. Inshallah, make a group. Hey, brothers, make groups. Shall we start from this larger group? Somebody maybe stand up or speak aloud. So I would like to hear what you have so far discussed about and concluded. Anybody? One of them, please, be brave. Stand up, or speak so that we will hear you. Yeah. Alaykum salam.
So we kind of first discussed amongst ourselves what the question means by speak, whether that's more literal, in the traditional sense of how we understand language, or if it's more about connection and feeling messages from Allah, because we know through dua and prayer and whatnot, there's obviously connection, and through the Qur'an there's the messages from Allah that He sent down to us through the prophets and through the angels. So the answer is to us, does God speak? Is yes. You look very confused. We don't know. This is just what we discussed. So yes, but not necessarily literally, but maybe yes literally.
Yeah, it's some sort of spiritual connection between your spirit and the creator of your spirit. That is perfect. That is one step. MashaAllah. So it is, MashaAllah, it is coming forth. Now the second large maybe from you. Come on, stand up. Or you don't have to, just for me to hear. That's why I asked the further.
Okay, I have a loud voice.
Okay, good, perfect. Perfect.
So we kind of almost said the same thing in the sense of God doesn't have literal speech, and if there was to be the word of God, this God speaking, it wouldn't be English or Arabic or any of the sense. So there's like manifestations of like God's word, the Qur'an, obviously, and then there's like she brought up the point of like communication with God, like when you pray and you speak to God and you see the manifestations of like the questions you ask and the things you ask for, like that's one way. But there's no, like, I personally think there's no literal speech of God. Like God is not talking. Yeah. He's not verbalizing words. Yeah.
This is also in your personal experiences, you feel it almost, as you said at the beginning, goes along with what this first sisters group came up with. Okay, but we may have various ideas. We are open everything. Or if someone says, does God speak? No. We discuss about it? No. It doesn't. Welcome. You know, open to any idea. So yes, brother. Yeah.
Here we started by, we had a discussion long, but it started by saying that God speaks because we are observers of God's creation. And so as observing God's creation, every existence is us, is as God talking to us. And Tarek mentioned that existence doesn't just happen, as there is no being that creates itself. There is something that must have created it, that is out of it. And so that's kind of what we, and so that is God. And then I added something that, but all of these things are certainly metaphors. We can try to understand the way in which God creates us by saying that, we observe the universe, but there could be other ways in which God speaks to us that we don't know. And that's kind of where we ended the conversation. And then the bell rang.
I'm very happy because what this group concluded will give another dimension to what this and this group concluded. So you heard that it could have been understood in this way, and these brothers have heard that it could have understood in the way that you presented. Do you understand? There are many really dimensions to approach the same subject, same topic. You cannot have one strict answer. No, it must be open to everybody's capacity to embrace the whole. To embrace the whole. Do you see the benefit? I'm very happy that we are following this method. Because, look, different people may have different approach to the same subject. Although, if you say, belief in God is a monolithic way of believing. You cannot really deviate it, but approach, personal approach, as our Creator has created us completely different from each other. Although we are all human beings, but everybody has its own individual characters, his or her own individual appearance, way of discussing. For example, if I receive a call from my old friends, I don't have to ask, excuse me, can you please introduce yourself? No. When you say, Assalamu alaikum, I said, oh, alaikum salam, Khalid. For example, oh, alaikum salam, Hatija. For example, why? I know the voice. Every person's voice is unique. Every person's interaction, logical, spiritual introduction with his or her Creator. So this is my way of speech, not with God. Yeah, I don't speak in this way. It doesn't mean that it is wrong. No, no, no. To establish the foundation, my Creator, He is the one who created me from nothing when I was anything at all. Yeah. So, last group. Tell whatever you concluded. Now, don't be under the influence of others, because it will be the difference, you know. We love diversity in New York. So now how many people, how many, how to say, races are present in New York? 160, 150 or something languages are used in New York. So get the opportunity. We are ready to receive 160 different views. So what you have discussed, what you concluded, but you may say, these sisters or these brothers' idea is really better than ours, but that's what we talked here. We are not giving you are not going to get a grade at the end. The grade will be given to your effort by your creator. So, the one who created you bothered to create you, so it is worth it to create him. Let me create it. This is what I mean. It's a symbolic language. That's symbolic. I'm not God, but okay. Please, I'm ready to listen to you.
Yeah. So what we basically said is that if there is a creator that created us, it has to be either for a purpose or without a purpose.
Yeah, good.
But we can say there has to be a purpose. So if there has to be a purpose, then the Creator would communicate that purpose to us. So that in a sense is like God's speech. So now it is our turn to look for that communication.
So in order to fulfill the purpose of your existence.
Yes.
Inshallah. Look, another perspective. Perfect. I will tell you one very short history that we hear from Sirah narrations, Hadith narrations. The Prophet Muhammad was, alayhi salatu wasalam, in Mecca. People were pagans. We know that they didn't have any religion to follow. They only know Kaaba. Kaaba was their center of economical, social, cultural, status-wise also. Quraysh was so famous because Kaaba was there. They were the people who were taking care of Kaaba, and also Hajj tradition is very ancient in that area, Hijaz area. Not only that Islam introduced Hajj, not, for example, for them, Islam introduced prayer, 5 daily prescribed prayer. But Hajj was already there, but Islam gave a new human shape to it and asked for it's a beautiful once in one's life practice of communicating with God. It's excellent, but you have to know the meaning. We have to know the meaning what we are doing. Yeah. So the Prophet Muhammad والسلام, this pagan, he was thinking, what are we doing here? So he was really under the influence of heavy concern, human concern. What did he do? He took some food with him and went to a cave and then started thinking, what's going on? What is going on in this world? Not only in Meccan society. Why? In Meccan society, it was the general standard of the whole world this time. The meaning of what is happening in this world, in this universe, in my existence, why am I here? That is why my interpretation of Hira experience of the Prophet. What do I do here? Why am I here? I am given birth. I was a baby, and then I was growing, and then declining started after. Don't misunderstand. There are some people here over 30, after 35, now not upwards, downwards journey. I know how it feels like. so I doubled 35 with Allah's grace. Alhamdulillah, I'm very happy with my what he gives me. So what he did there, heavy questioning, heavy concern, trying to understand. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was full of concerns with no answer. Wow. What shall I do? I don't know. What? Terrible. It means in his own fitra, what is the Arabic word? In his own nature, human nature, he was under the influence of not having any meaning, although as a human being, he was looking for a meaning. He was looking for a meaning to make his life meaningful, worth living. Because after 35, you go down, 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 you find yourself in the grave. Finish. Meaningless, but I'm very close. I'm just at the gate of cemetery, so I don't mind. I'm very happy, but I should know why. No, alhamdulillah. I'm trying to never be pessimistic in this world. Ask your Creator. So, of course, he was full of questions, full of concerns, with zero answer. Now, if you are a teacher in a class, there was a student, you are, for example, teaching chemistry, okay? There was a student who really wants to learn chemistry. So, why is it so? Why does it work in this way? Why doesn't it work in this way? Lots of questions. What do you think? He is ready to receive the answer. If someone sits there, and none of you were doing that, so don't misunderstand. Let me say what my WhatsApp said or what Instagram said. Do you think teacher will bother about it much? So, from this aspect, I describe the Creator as the teacher. Why? It is Rab. Rab comes from what? One meaning of slightly different, two variations of the spelling, original spelling. I should just forget about it, but it is the reality. One meaning was tarbiyah. Are you familiar with the word tarbiyah? Rububiyah, tarbiyah, taking care of somebody's character.
Raise.
Yeah.
To raise. Tarbiyah is like to bring up.
How you bring up, how to raise, how to prepare. Rab means, really, there are many meanings. So, inshallah, one time, if we have the opportunity to go into these details, many meanings. One of the meaning is really the teacher, educator, trainer. So, I say God is the teacher. So you will really like to teach a student who is very eager to receive the message. For example, if you are the designer or engineer of this laptop, you will design it in such a way that as this kind of laptops are beyond my capacity, I use it as a typewriter and Gmail, that's it. So he will look at me and come there. What are you doing with this, for example? So I'm writing my documents. What else? I answer Gmails. What else? Not really. Why did I bother to make this laptop? Pointless. But somebody wants to learn everything there. If he comes there, what are you doing? I want to this, but I want to learn as well this one, whether it works or not. Do you know any idea that it works in this for this purpose also? He says, oh man, it is worth making the laptop for this guy. So whoever has the question is received to answer. So don't bother about having the questions. Concerns. So the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was a man full of questions and concerns. And the teacher said, okay, this guy who doesn't claim that, I know the answer, but it doesn't really, it is not really the answer. No, he doesn't cheat himself, honest. Okay. Spoke to him. Wow. How? That's the question. How did he speak? Don't hide your answers behind your preconceived terms. Like, angel brought it. Was it? I've never seen it. Even his wives, none of his wives, not one exception, narration that is different, got the form of a man, and appeared in one occasion and spoke to the Prophet, asked, this famous hadith, very famous, everybody knows it by heart. You know, what is Iman, what is Islam, what is Ihsan, this. Oh, but apart from this, even his wives did not see that angels are coming and speaking to the Prophet. The Prophet happened something strange, okay, physically, and then said, Gabriel brought this news to me. This it, exactly. But I was next to you. I've never seen anyone. No, Gabriel is not unseen. Unseen? Okay. What do you mean by unseen? Yeah? But there is it is not included in the PowerPoint list, but there is a very, very exciting people of Median, I think, Shu'aib, most probably Shu'aib, and the followers of the Shu'aib, and of course, the nobles, those people who think that I'm powerful, I'm knowledgeable, I'm better than the others, I'm superior, I am the community leader, huge so sees himself as the superior person, were opposing it. Because of, as the Quran describes, they are arrogant, feeling self-sufficient, even more than self-sufficient. I'm sufficient for you as well. They were so arrogant, they were not ready to receive the message. They asked the follower of Shu'aib, do you really believe what Shu'aib is telling you? The answer, the Quran says, we believed what message the Prophet Shu'aib brought to us. What is the point here? We believe in Shu'aib. He is a prophet and we follow him. Whatever he says, okay, accept. No. The Quran says, do you believe in the Prophet Muhammad? I said, okay, I believe. How? I believe in what he brought to me, including subjects of the Quran makes sense to me. That is why I believe in the Quran is correct. So the one who presented to me doesn't say, you know, I wrote this, I thought about it, I am a professor, or even more than a professor, you know, senior professor in this subject. No, he said, I am an illiterate then, I don't know, I know nothing, but I am full of questions. I am full of concerns. I am full of concern. So, the questions, we say, okay, the questions necessitate the answer. So the prophet, we have to believe in the Qur'an because it is true, and the person who brought it to me said it is from your creator. You know Moses? Moses spoke to Pharaoh, how? Shall I let you know your Lord? Your Lord, not my Lord. Your Lord. Do you want to know who is your owner? Who is the one who prepared you and sent you to this world? Do you have an idea? That is what I am going to introduce you. So the Quran says, I am going to speak and introduce myself to you as your Lord. So I will say, my Creator is telling me, is it really? Can I really see the evidence? So in order to see the evidence, first of all, what do I have to have? First, the one who created me cannot say something that I cannot understand, I cannot confirm, I cannot be sure of. You see what I'm sure of? Or it is impossible. Because the one who created me must speak to me, because he must know me, must speak to me what I need, and must present it to me, the answer, so that I will say, it makes sense. For example, you are, let's say, high school student, or primary school student is the best example, extreme example. The extreme examples are the method the Quran uses, you know. Complete denier, complete believer. In between doesn't mention. So we are in the way somewhere there. So anyways, so extreme example, primary school student. What is the class? Mathematics. Okay? And the professor comes, a very, very highly qualified professor, comes and speaks to primary school students according to his capacity. So the janitor comes in. Let me see how simple it is. Janitor comes in and looks at him. He's speaking something definitely, it's impossible to learn even one word from what he says by the students. Students cannot really learn anything from it. The janitor will say, this man is crazy, I think. He doesn't know where he is. You know, he's not realistic at all. Why? He's speaking beyond the capacity of the audience. Even the janitor will laugh at him. And he will say, come on man, get out of this place. Let the primary school teacher speak, come here and speak. It makes more sense and it really teaches something. You cannot teach anything, get out of it. But I am 100 times and 1,000 times more knowledgeable than the primary schools. No. So when we read the Quran, we should bear in mind, my Creator is speaking to me and he is supposed to know my capacity and he must speak to me within my capacity, within the language I understand, human language. Can you imagine God is speaking to us in an absolute sense? Infinite knowledge God must have, the Creator must have an infinite knowledge, don't we know? Look at the creation. If it is source of existence, if it is Creator, did not have infinite knowledge, this perfect universe cannot sustain its perfection from its beginning, perfect giving existence, continuously changing, and whether it changes or not, but it changes, it doesn't really show any confusion, any missing point at all. The knowledge capacity must be infinite. So the knowledge of the Quran comes from the infinite source, but according to my level, according to our level. So we should understand everything told in the Quran. I don't understand. But of course, we should know our limits, but at the same time, it must be accessible to human beings as much as their capacity allows them to benefit from it. Right? Come to the point. So, these followers of Shu'aib, it means the Ummah of Shu'aib, in the language of the Quran, Muslims of Shu'aib, that time, I mean, those people, Muslim means what? Submitted what the message is conveyed to them. So delivered to them, said, okay, really this message makes sense to me, so I have to follow it. So the outside is very cold, and you are going out, somebody says, hey, are you aware that outside is very cold? Really? So you go and experience it, oh, it's very cold. Oh, thank you very much for reminding me, and put your coat over coat, if you like, double layer of coats, because it is needed, if it is needed. So you will experience from the creation, so that you will come up with a convinced understanding. The followers of the Quran said, we don't really blindly follow Shu'aib, but we are sure what he taught us is acceptable, confirmable by my nature. So it must be it must have no contradiction, which my mind says 2 + 2 4, Quran says 2 + 2 5. Even it is bigger, isn't that good? No, it doesn't make sense. Even it is bigger, but doesn't make sense. I cannot really confirm it. So while I'm reading the Quran, I have to see the parallel, the compatibility between my capacity and what it says. At the level of myself, I should never forget this. At the level of myself, convinced about it? So, does God speak? The one who created me gave me the capacity of asking endless questions, endless concerns, if we use our human capacity. But if you say, I don't mind, I have to get a good profession and good money and get a good house and bed as much as possible, if it is possible, young people, best spouse, life is comfortable. That's my concern. Excuse me, sir, Quran doesn't speak to you. You are not asking your God, why did you create me? You are not asking your Creator, what is this universe for? Yep. So the answer comes in cave Hira to the Prophet, to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Read. Come on, man. Who is this guy? I don't know how to read. What are you talking about? Yeah, but I am really making it into a scenario. No, I'm not really mocking with it. No, scenario there. So cut it short, the story, in the name of the Creator, your Lord, the Creator, your owner. Bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Yeah? Your Lord, the one who prepared you for this world and created, gave you existence which you didn't have it. He gave you the existence. The source of your existence is He, the one. And if you want to know your answers, you have to read what? Not only the Prophet ﷺ was illiterate, majority of the community was illiterate. Very little people, very little amount of people knew how to read and write, and they were exceptional. If somebody knew how to read and write and recite good poetry, was the, how do you say, professor of their kabila, their tribe. Just reading and writing, excellent, perfect. So that is how the cultural level was. So it is not strange that the Prophet was only one or two among the, no, 99% of them did not know how to read and write. There was no school, there was no education, there was no book common in the hands of the people. It wasn't common, and even they didn't know how to use the written materials and making books. No. It's a pagan society. So it was so normal, but even we don't know nothing at all, we have to read the creation. But, and especially we have to read our creation. How? Not only body. Body is really significant, amazing creation, but more than this, your human feelings. We have to learn how to read them. Sit there. Now I'm wondering about my future, my life, my profession, my blah blah blah. What are they? What are the things that you are concerned with? Okay, why do I bother? Where did I get this sense? I will keep asking this question in the course of our discussions, halaqas. Keep asking this question. So somebody will say, look, I don't like this. What? You don't like this? Do you have such a sense? Yeah? Where did you get it? Where did you get your sense of disliking something? I like something, so I don't feel happy. What do you mean by happy? No, we want to be happy. Where did you get this sense for the need for happiness? What do you mean? No, without questioning all these, we cannot go further. That is why we will go slowly, but at the same time, we will establish the foundations in a way that it will be our method of thinking. So at the end, inshallah, you will feel that I believe in something and I don't know, I know why. Convinced heart. So inshallah, what we will do, questioning like this and preparing yourself as you did here today, having your ideas, and then continuing, benefiting from each group's ideas, opinions, and then continuing on the discussion, maybe going a bit further and establishing the methodology. Now, I don't sell information. No, information is available very cheap nowadays. It costs you nothing. You can even approach what the people in Tibet are believing. Tibet, belief, and then it is there. Why do you bother to carry 30 volumes of encyclopedias and study them? Whatever you need, it is ready. Even you say, oh, I don't know, I feel something wrong with my teeth here. It irritates it. Okay, teeth problems. That's what we used to say, Sheikh Google answers it quickly. Better. So it gives many options as well, alternative web pages and websites. So information is so cheap that it became useless. And I mean, you can have it, why should I bother? But what I really need, and how am I going to satisfy with what I learn for my existential concerns? Why am I here? What am I doing here? What is expected of me? And I have to do this, that's what they say. In Islam they say, in Christianity they say, oh, it doesn't make sense, Islam makes sense. Okay, that's correct, really. By the way, today we are going to close, I think. It is time coming up. I see the, let me say, oh, it's correct, yeah? It's 8 past. Oh, it is already 8 past. Now, all these questions will be answered, and inshallah, we will go slowly, establish the foundations, and then by establishing the foundations, we will learn how to use the tool to answer my questions next time in another subject, because we are not going to cover the Quran in 4 months. I mean, for a year I have been doing it, really more than half a century, so it's not impossible. It is something like, one of my friends went UK. I was educated in the UK, so when he came to the UK, and he said he's going to do PhD. All right, and went to the department, chemistry department, and he said, interview. The professor asked him, what subject are you going to study? He is in the chemistry, faculty of chemistry. He said, I'm planning to do PhD in chemistry. The professor couldn't stop. Doing PhD in chemistry, it's impossible. Which subject and which part of it? Now science is getting detailed. We understand that the creation needs to be studied in detail and never ending. The detail is never ending. Physics was very simple, you know, the matter. So here is the matter, here is the laws of nature, and it is working within these laws, finished. It's explaining how it is. But nowadays, no, there are atoms, and then, no, particles, deeper. Now, particles, no, leptons, in the particles, some elements of the particle. Exactly, this is the way to study the universe. The more you go in detail, you became, I knew nothing. For a primary school teacher, if you ask him, what do you teach? Mathematics. Okay. Do you know mathematics? Of course, I am a teacher. You go a conscious, honest mathematics problem. What are you studying? What are you teaching? I'm pretending to teach mathematics. Why? Well, really, it's endless. So the more I study, the more I realize I'm ignorant of mathematics. That is the reality of creation. That's why reading the creation and starting from myself, yourself, you know, who am I? The reasoning of why do I have this power? of reasoning, power of receiving a satisfactory answers to my questions. How do I know them? Oh, where did I get them? How? Yeah, my Creator gave me. Why did He give me endless human feelings? What am I going to do with them? So these questions really need to be answered, need to be responded. So we will try to do step by step, one by one, next week, inshallah. Here we go. This verse will be studied. So take notes, 41, 21. So just take notes of it, and if you want to get ready, if you are a student, so you are accustomed with receiving the assignment at the end of the class, so you can prepare yourself, especially concerned with this question: does God speak really? Does He have to speak? Is it needed, necessary? These kind of questions will be your concerns. So whether the one who created this universe, look at the world. I don't hear any speech. Do I really see that God is speaking? When I look at the world, it's not just an actions, that's it. So we have to try to tackle with this question, inshallah, next week. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Any question, any concern? Any? Well, inshallah, I'll see you next week. If you know that there are some people who are questioning their religious identity, whatever it is, Muslim, Christian, Jews, I don't mind, atheists, I don't mind. Anybody who brought this atheist man here? No, I love it. You know, I have the reason, inshallah, to say something to them. So they will benefit, inshallah, if they need it. So, inshallah, bring them, your friends who are concerned with this kind of questions, and I'll see you next week at 6 o'clock. Inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة. Never forget to make salawat on the Prophet. It's very important. We can talk later on. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.